Welcome to REALtor Therapy with Steph and Kel.
We're your hosts, Stephanie Campbell and Kelly Dugan, top producing agents with the Gold Group at Properties Christie's International.
With over $200 million in sales, we've seen it all. The wins, the losses, and the downright insane moments that come with being a realtor.
This podcast is your no BS, unfiltered look into the world of real estate.
Whether you're an agent needing a therapy session or looking to level up your game, we've got real stories, real problems, and real talk.
And hey, if you're a client, stick around. You might just pick up a few trade secrets.
Let's get into it. Hello.
What is up?
Welcome
today
to REALtor Therapy.
Welcome. If you're new here, I'm Stefanie Campbell.
And I'm Kelly Dugan.
And we are...
What are we talking about today?
We're realtors.
Oh, sorry. Didn't know we were doing an elaborate intro. We probably should make that more of a habit.
We should. We work for Properties Christie's International. We are the Gold Group. Woo woo.
And we just like to chat behind the scenes of day-to-day things that we see as realtors that we think would be, how many times me and Stephanie call each other and we're like, this would be a good podcast topic.
I send random texts all the time like, we should talk about this.
Yeah.
We should talk about that.
A lot goes on over here. So
many things go on. I mean, our job is just kind of crazy.
What are we going to talk about today, though?
We are going to talk about buyer meetings. Okay.
Super important.
This is if you are a realtor, and honestly, I feel like this could be applicable to a lot of businesses. Some of the tidbits we're going to say, but I think if you are a realtor and you do not do a buyer meeting, you are setting yourself up for failure. The end.
I just think you're setting yourself up for the process to take so much longer than you were planning it to be.
Yeah.
And also for it not to make as much sense, because even if you bought 5-6 years ago, I just think it's nice to have that refresher. Maybe the market isn't the same as it was when you bought 5-6 years ago. Maybe you've never even heard of an appraisal gap waiver or, an escalation clause because it wasn't that competitive when you bought the first time. It's so important. And whenever I have a client that's like, hey, Kelly, I'm looking to buy a house, this and that is my first, and I don't make it required. I don't have a gun to your head, but I just make it known that I'm telling you, I highly recommend you just taking an hour out of your day, meeting at my office, or I can come to you, and we can just go over what I'm currently seeing in the market right now. What are my clients going through right now? And just go over the process. It's like a whole dictionary of real estate lingo that goes on during this. And I think it's important. And granted, yes, you're going to ask us questions as they arise throughout, but it's so much more palatable when something goes wrong or something happens in a deal and you kind of are already familiar with the verbiage and the lingo and, that kind of thing.
I think I was literally going to look in ChatGPT to see what they say because it'd be so interesting to find out, but I'm going to do it regardless. I'll tell you what they say.
I love ChatGPT.
It's crazy how
my best
smart
friend.
they are.
He's my bestie.
Whoever they are.
I see on Instagram Reels, just funny things, and it's so mean. It's me getting married on my wedding day in ChatGPT. It's this robot that's waving from a distance. It's me and ChatGPT after everything we've been through, and I'm getting married today. I'm like, that's me. What are you rating in it?
If I'm a realtor, I'm just curious to see what they say. Absolutely. I said, should I do a buyer meeting with my clients if I'm a realtor? ? They said, absolutely, yes. Doing a buyer meeting, sometimes called a buyer consultation. Oh, I'll have to say that is one of the best things you can do as a realtor.
It's so true.
It sets the tone for the entire relationship, helps you stand out as a professional, and prevents a ton of miscommunication down the line. Oh, I mean, it's summarized freaking perfectly here. Set expectations, builds trust, qualifies buyers, saves you time.
Yes. That is honestly what I revolve. And I want
to touch base on some of these things.
I revolve my meetings around setting expectations.
That's what I want to say. And you probably didn't. Did you listen to my buyer meeting when Paul interviewed me?
No, I didn't.
This is when you know she's made it.
Because she got interviewed by Property, literally it got sent out to our entire brokerage. This interview, that stuff. It was kind of a big deal, and I'm so sorry. I meant to listen to it.
It was a big deal, but Kelly doesn't care because she's a big deal herself.
I meant to listen. I'm so sorry. I'm a bad friend.
It's funny because actually I have never felt so loved by strangers. I had random people like messaging me and emailing me and like how it was so nice.
Well, yeah.
Like
I mean,
the feedback was so nice, and it was reassuring that Kelly and I actually do know what we're talking about, and we do a lot of things correctly.
I know, and
we do a lot of fly by our seat of our pants because time doesn't allow to be super type A.
Right.
But
and like as loosey goosey and relaxed as my meetings can maybe feel, I just feel like I know that my clients feel a little bit like, sure, they leave feeling, I always say you might feel leaving like information overload, because I go through the process, and I do it a million times a day, so it's one of those things where I can go off on a tangent, but I do feel like my clients leave feeling better. They feel more confident in the process, and I do feel like it builds the trust and rapport with me. I think that
so let's talk about some, and I mean, I have mine, you have yours, and I'm sure we'll think of things as we go through this, but what are some of the things that we have to talk about at that meeting? Like, tell me what some.
I warn them that, especially if we're in a competitive market, that there's a very good chance that we will lose a few before we get the one. So it's not completely
setting expectations.
Yes.
If you do not, and I want to say this is, you've already said, but I'm going to reiterate it for everybody. If you do not manage expectations at this meeting, you are setting yourself up for failure, because whatever they have in their head might not match the reality of the situation. Yes. And so manage expectations of how it's going to go to get a loan, right? I even talk about that. Like I talk about the lender. Getting a loan can sometimes be very annoying. You might feel like the person on the other end doesn't know what they're doing because they ask you for documents, they review them, and then they come back and they ask you for more.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, why didn't you ask me that to begin with? Well, it's because an underwriter then looks at what they sent, and if they find one thing, it'll trigger for them to be a little bit of a detective and ask for more things, right?
Yes.
That has nothing to do with the process and being unorganized.
No.
But if you're kind of a control freak and you're really type A, you might be a Judge Judy and just think that those people don't know what they're doing, when in fact that's how it goes.
That's how it goes. Yes, that's 100% how it goes.
I mean, I have had some pain in the keister clients that like think that the way things are going. Oh God, I have one.
Because we can only navigate it and set expectations to a certain level, because we're only one party in this huge, umbrella of all of these moving parts that it takes in order for you to close on your home. Mm-hmm. So as much as we try to navigate and, control everything, we can't. So, and you can't even set it up from the start too, because you don't know, every house has a different story. Every situation has a different story.
Right. And
I say that also in my meetings. Like I was like, I'm going to go through the most, prominent, straightforward aspects and steps of this entire process, but there's going to be a few bullet points in your specific scenario that we don't know yet, because we haven't gotten there yet. But these are the main points. These are the main things you can expect. Home inspection, you taught me that.
Yes, very important. I'm going to point at another managing expectations.
Yeah, Stefanie taught me this one, and this was honestly one of the best things, because it just feels good to say, because it's so true. Everyone gets so excited for their home inspection, which it is exciting. You just got an offer accepted. We get the house to ourselves for like 2 hours for you to invite your entire family over, whatever you want to do. Measurements. It's an exciting day, but you are literally hiring somebody to point out every single flaw and everything that is wrong with your house. So It is a little bit of a doom and gloom day. And you taught me that. I'm like, gosh, that's so important to say, because it's like, when you get a 20 plus page report of everything wrong in your house, they can all be so minor, but that's overwhelming.
Yeah. I will say, like, and I say, you come from this high because you're so excited, you're planning your future and this and that, and then like you get walloped with a low on inspection day. Yeah. So you automatically, the doubt enters your brain, and you're like, oh my God, I'm buying a lemon. There's all these things wrong with it, like blah 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 blah, and it's depressing. You go from this high to this low, and you think that you are making a mistake.
Yep.
And like, I have to tell people that's normal to feel that way. You should be. And I also talk about fear. I was like, during this process, and again, this goes back to Kelly and I also playing shrinks on the side, is during this process, you should be scared a time or two.
There should be a little bit of natural anxiety throughout.
That is a normal human response. If you are spending $1 million, $500,000, I don't care what your budget is, any money, whatever amount of money you're spending should be significant to you. And if you don't have a little bit of fear going into that, then you're crazy.
Yeah, then I think that's more of the abnorm. You know, it should be.
And I have some clients that like are like, oh yeah, let's buy it.
I know.
And I'm like, okay, let's do it.
I know.
You know what I mean? But most people are scared.
Yeah, the home inspection, setting expectations for that was huge. I always make that clear.
And then some people think that it's like their gut talking to them. They're like, I don't know. I just have a bad feeling.
Yeah, they think
and
they're
like,
psychic.
That's called scared. You're scared.
I know, because honestly, as much as I can be like everything does always happen the way it's supposed to. I am a firm believer in that, but there's a fine line between that, total feeling versus the client. You've had this client, I've had this client that like they will find any reason to be like, yeah, that wasn't meant to be. And it's like, yeah, because you made it not meant to be.
I always tell people, and like, I'm a Capricorn. So like, maybe I'm just a realist. Like maybe that's how I am. You are this way too.
I'm a realist, but I also do feel like that for the most part, things do happen the way they should.
I don't feel like that.
No.
I feel like we have free will. We make our own destiny. Things happen because you made them happen.
Yeah.
Like that's like me saying like, oh, I would have just, like this.
Well, it's to a certain extent.
I know, but I have extreme clients that are always like, oh, wasn't meant to be. And I'm like, nope, that's because you decided not to. I'm like
No, 100%.
Can you imagine the offices next to us?
Yeah. I know, especially with our headphones on, we probably talk so loud in here. I never thought about that. So? Oh, yeah, Have you ever talked to someone with headphones on and you don't have headphones on?
Okay, yeah, I guess you're right. Oh, see, Sean, is he walking out?
Yeah, Sean just walked out.
Sorry, I feel
Sean.
bad.
I mean, we're way in the back. Who cares?
We should probably send them a
soundproof padding or what?
Send them like some cookies sometime as like thanks for being our office neighbor.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, how much longer? I mean, I talked to Ricky today. Here we go off topic.
Ricky's her brother-in-law is a builder.
Ricky, when are you gonna get on the podcast?
Yeah. We've been wanting to get him on.
He's gonna get on. I'll have to message him.
I thought we had it scheduled and then just no one followed up. Didn't we?
No, we didn't have it scheduled. Actually, we had it scheduled with Garrett and Kaylin.
That was right. Yes. Okay.
And then we ended up pushing that out. And
I love like any plans with Kaylin. They're so easy to flake on because she wants to flake too.
She loves a little good flake. That one.
So do I.
No, you know and also that waterproofing guy.
Oh yeah.
Do we want to have him on? Like, what are we gonna ask him?
I think that
he's a chatty Cathy, I will say.
If he even agreed to come on the podcast, that alone shows me he's got to have some sort of,
gift of gab.
Yeah, some sort of knowledge to share about it.
I really want to.
Like, I want to ask about certain cracks and foundations. What's super scary and what's not, or what's the craziest thing that he's ever seen.
There's a lot of questions we could probably ask.
Yeah, or we can ask like how should someone go about like if they're buying a house that has a finished basement and they're concerned about like potential leaks behind the drywall. Like, is there like like even just things like that.
Okay. I like it. Yeah. We'll proceed with that interview then. Okay. Back to our
buyer meetings.
So again, the whole premise of the meeting is to manage expectations. Okay. Another thing I like to do is go through the contract.
Yes. I do
started
like doing
that. I didn't always do it, but I feel like it outlines a lot of process.
Yes.
Because in the contract, you're going to talk about earnest money.
Yep.
You're going to talk about, do you ever get that back? Do you not get that back? We don't need to go over details of that kind of stuff. That's an educational piece for another day. But we talk about, now on that side, commissions in there.
Yes.
Right? We got to talk about that.
I go through the process first, and then I go through the contract, and then it all starts to make sense when they like see it on the contract. Like
that's probably good.
That's
what
usually.
Do you mean, how do you cover the process? Like,
I pull up the buyer presentation.
Oh,
on the
properties buyer presentation.
Yeah, just because, and honestly, it's the worst placement for that projection screen in that conference room because the window blares in and you can't even read it. I just put it up there for reference, but I basically start with, I literally start as basic as to when we go and see a house, and if you like it, we then, how are you going to determine if that price makes sense to you, or if that price is even, on the head? Like, I'll pull comps and I'll send you guys comps. Those are going to help you determine what the house is worth to you.
I need to start going. I used to do that, pull up that meeting?
Yeah, it just, and I feel like it just goes over.
Have you used our books yet, or are you just giving it as a take home?
No, I have that in front of me when.
Oh, the Gold Group book?
Because they're the same. They're kind of, they have the same main points as our
I almost want to
properties book.
snag one real quick. Yeah.
So it goes, I go through the process, and then I also go through multiple offer scenarios and what might need to come into play. Because what I've noticed is when stakes are super high and everyone's a little anxious because they're entering their first multiple offer situation, you start talking about appraisal gaps and escalation clauses, it freaks them out. But if you talk about those at our meeting,
100%,
they'll be like, oh, is this a scenario that we do the appraisal gap waiver? And I'm like, you star students, this is exactly the time that we do this appraisal waiver.
I'm telling you, you're so right. And I literally say multiple offer toolbox.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, let's go over the multiple offer toolbox.
Yep.
And I go, we don't have to use everything in the toolbox. We will only use the things that you're comfortable using.
Right.
But I want to explain to you all these tools and how many we use and how aggressively we use them will help you win the bid. Right. And so like you said, the appraisal gap escalation clause, huge.
Yeah.
It is amazing when I did not do my meetings and I bring up the escalation clause, like
so much confusion
on the fly. They are terrified.
Yep.
Terrified. And again, I think it's because they're already in a fear state.
Yes.
And then I'm tagging more on that fear state. It's a terrible situation. You have to present these ideas in a calm office manner.
100%. And that's why the meeting is so important. And then I'll go over, inspection. I was, basically we get our inspection done. I'm like, depending on our situation, did we sign the contract as is? Did we not sign the contract as is?
We go over as is.
We go over as is. And again, then that way when I'm writing an offer and offers are due in an hour because they have multiples, I'm like, hey, you guys good with doing as is? Because they already know from our meeting that as is the most no-brainer, low-risk term that you can put in your offer.
100%.
I had clients, this was like a month ago, contingent on sale. Okay. And honestly, they were contingent on close in my defense because we took them on a showing and then their deal ended up falling apart. But I got a really good feeling from this agent and she was kind of giving me hope that it was possible. We were contingent on close at this time and, we're doing everything, or I'm doing everything that I am to like make them appealing and this and that. And I said to them as I'm writing up the offer, now mind you, they did as is on the previous offer that we lost out on. So I said, okay, are we going to do as is with this one too? No, we're not comfortable doing as is with this one. And I'm like, you guys are contingent on close. You guys came up, they didn't even come up in asking price. Like they really weren't doing anything. And then the seller ended up countering us. I was this close from them accepting our offer, and then their sale fell apart on their end. So yeah, and it's a referral, so I'm not even their listing agent. It's an agent from St. Charles. Remember how Paul recommended me?
Oh,
Cindy Schmalz. Do you know her?
No.
She's a great agent. Shout out to Cindy. She's
okay, Cindy.
Yeah, but she's in St. Charles, so she's selling their house, and then I'm helping them with the buy.
Okay.
But I was just so like, her and I weren't really in super big communication, so I didn't even know it was rocky on their end. I thought that things were going smooth, and then I find out because basically the agent for the house we were trying to buy wanted to talk to Cindy to make sure that all is good. I'm like, okay. So I call Cindy. She's like, actually, I think that the buyers are about to cancel right now. I'm like, what?
Why did they cancel?
An inspection item. So they're taking care of it now and they're off the market. And
I just can't even.
So again, off topic again.
Inspection items.
But as is the most low risk, no brainer term to put in there.
You know how many dreams fall apart over inspection items? And I'm not saying that people, I just really believe that rarely do real lemons exist in construct. Like, I just don't think.
I mean, definitely. I mean, older houses, I always have a little bit more of a red flag, like cinder block foundations. Like, and that's only because
cinder block foundation. That's different. But I'm saying like the things that scare these buyers. I'm like, everything is fixable, you guys.
Right. It's just
literally
a matter.
Everything.
You have to focus on the things that, and that's another thing. Oh yeah, another part of the buyers meetings is, especially when there's couples. Stephanie taught me this exercise. Have one person in the couple write down the top 3 things that are super important to them that they really want, and then have the other person write down their 3 things, and then we want to condense those 6 items into just 3. And because
that's not how I taught it, but I kind of like this way.
Oh really? Maybe I just put my own spin on it. I thought that's how you did.
She sure did.
Because I'm always like, no perfect house exists. So between these 6 things, like, what are your deal breakers if you can only choose 3? And it, again, sets your expectations realistically that you are not going to check every single box and you should only care about the things that really you can't change.
I actually like the way you do that, like limiting them, because then they kind of put it in from perspective of like, yeah, because you're not going to get a house with everything you want. And that is a phrase I always say. I say, well, and I also talk about how showings, even scheduling showings, again, like seeing 6 at a time is pretty good. A goal to set, like you don't want to see. I mean,
that's a lot to me.
Oh, I like to pound them out, but that goes back to.
I just feel like I could skim it down from there. If I know what they're looking for and they send me 6 properties, I feel like I could be like, well, no.
I guess I'm going back to when I started, when there was more inventory.
Right.
Imagine like having the pick of the litter of homes and
True.
You get to go for a second showing. I rarely do 6 these days just because inventory is so short. Mm-hmm. But that also protects you from the people that want to go see 12. Mm-hmm. You know? And I always say, you want to find, if you can find about 85% of what you want, like if you're 85% happy with the house or 80% happy with the house, you are golden.
Right.
And I always use the analogy, even when you build a house and a client that walks me through a home that they just built, always guarantee you, they say out of their mouth, if I was going to do this again, and we're talking about a house that was just built.
Yep.
Right? It's because our minds change.
Our lifestyle change, our mind change, trends change, design trend, everything changes.
Everything changes.
Yes.
So you're not going to find something perfect.
I get so nervous. I'm going to hate my kitchen. What if I hate my kitchen?
Guys, I don't even want, she had to call my brother-in-law like on emergency, and
I didn't know what sink to get.
Ricky was like, who is this? He's like, oh,
he did help me. I ordered my sink.
I know. He is helpful. He's good at decisions. But just very funny to be in the, imagine all the crazy things.
I know.
I actually said today at the meeting, I was like, well, I was thinking we could do a little podcast room off of the mudroom. And now it's like, no.
Stop it. Doesn't Niall know that's our office?
He said, like, why can't your office just go above the garage and it'd be your office and your podcast room?
Well, yeah, I was
like, okay, fine.
I didn't think we needed 2 designated spots in your house.
I was thinking, I have visualized in my head like a cozy, like, nook kind of.
I think you could do that above the garage, no?
But instead, I guess we'll have it be more open, and then we can set up a couple chairs and make it cozy.
Totally.
Okay.
I like that idea.
All right, that's fine. He wins.
But yeah, so back to the buyers meeting, guys. We are really off topic today.
ADD, and we're at 21 minutes.
So super important. Sets expectations. Go through the process. Get them familiar with the lingo. Maybe warn them of any potential. Like talk about what happens if the appraisal does come in short. Kind of get them familiarized with how it goes. And I think that it saves so much time, A, and B, it just makes the process so much smoother from start to finish.
Back to like how I usually do my tear off sheet of paper.
Yeah.
Like I give the couple each piece of paper. I say, write down your wish list of items.
Oh, okay.
Like
tell them all.
Whatever you want. Anything that you want to have in a house, just write it down. Asterisk for me or star for me, things that are absolute 100% deal breakers, would not buy the house without it.
Okay. I like that.
So, just easy.
Yeah.
But because like what I want to know is the wish list is kind of like, whatever.
You want to know what your must-haves.
I want to know, like, what are we willing to cancel this deal over?
Right.
Because, like, it's amazing the things that people think are important.
Oh, yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, that's not really that big a deal.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, yeah, that happens all the time. They have all of these things. What about that?
Is there anything else I'm wondering that we're, like, what is important to touch on in the buyer meeting? Obviously now we have to go over our own BBAs, buyer broker agreements.
And I honestly, I treat that as a way of, even though I'm 99.999% sure they're going to sign with me, obviously nothing is signed yet before that buyer's meeting, but I like to approach that in a way of like essentially ever since all these new rules came into play, and I kind of explained to them how it used to be more handshake agreement, MLS advertised the buyer's agent's compensation, and now how it's done the same way. We just have to ask for it in our offer. And I make it a point to say, like, this is really good for buyers because ultimately this is an interview. I say our buyers meeting. I'm like, ultimately this is an interview.
Bold.
I know, but I feel like it's a good way to put it because
I can't even look at my shiny face.
It looks so much worse on the phone always than it does when Molly
it?
sends it to us. Always.
God, it's driving me crazy.
But yeah, I do say that because I feel like that's one thing that people don't realize is that you are hiring me on, because this fee that I'm charging, essentially, yes, the goal is to get the seller to cover all of it, and 9 times out of 10 they do. But I don't want to kick myself for sugarcoating.
Have you had a buyer pay your fee yet?
I've had a buyer have to. The seller would only pay. He was paying 1/4% than what I asked for, so she's paying the remaining quarter. That's the only thing that's happened.
Minor. I haven't even had haven't even had anybody yet. So knock on wood. 1, 2, 3. I did just win. I had a buyer meeting, and they interviewed 2 realtors. I'm assuming quite seriously interviewed them.
And as you should. I really do think you should interview, especially with the new rules, because you guys are signing an agreement that they are getting paid, whether the seller's covering it or not.
But I will say, I actually had a situation where I want to say for sure have this client. And remember, they went out one weekend with somebody, and I think somebody random from an open house.
Really?
And they did not realize what they signed.
Oh.
And then they felt too bad canceling it on them. They were going to go out with me the next week, and they didn't even realize. I was like, oh, my Lord. Oh, my Lord.
I mean, and I've had a couple of things like that where I've offered the buyer's meeting and then went over, and some people are just like, no, they don't have any time for it. And usually they bought or sold before. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to send you this agreement, and let me know if you have any questions. Like, I've done that before, too. It's all what the client wants. I just like my clients to know what they're getting into, feel educated, and trust me, and know that I am their agent.
I think
that's what I want.
Yeah, I think it's important. It's hard when they're buying and selling because you're often so focused on the sale at the beginning. Then I feel like I'm almost having to do 2 meetings at once, and I don't like it that way, but I feel like it sometimes has to happen.
But I kind of feel like when they're buying and selling at the same time, they already, even though it was just the listing meeting we had, they get a little bit of like a glimpse of the buy side too. Like they're at least more familiar.
I just think I'm speaking out loud to myself. I need to make it a better point to cover more buyer topics during those listing meetings, because I'm so focused on like, let's get the house sold first.
Right.
But I need to like make it a 2-step.
Yeah.
Is that it?
All right. I think that's all we got for you guys.
We could delve into this.
Yeah, we could probably talk about this one all day. Yeah, maybe next time we'll do how we handle listing meetings.
Have we done that before?
I don't think so.
Wow. It's like the 2 most like.
Well, know what we should do? We should each bring something that's happened with a past client of ours that was like, oh, wait, what do you do if a seller asks you this at the listing meeting? How do you handle that?
Tough listing
like
question?
A tough listing question or a tough like client thing. Like, let's both come up with each other's like roadblocks and then ask how we would handle it.
Wait, I'm going to ask you the tough question.
We ask each other. Like, I'm going to be like, oh yeah, let's do that. And we don't know what's coming.
Hot seat.
Hot seat. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.
Ciao. That's a wrap on Realtor Therapy with Steph and Kel.
If you loved what you heard, subscribe, leave a review, and follow us on social media.
Got a wild real estate story or a topic idea?
Drop it anonymously in the form in our show notes. We'd love to hear from you.
Until next time, keep hustling, stay sane, and remember,
we're all in this together.